Die game in Philly, Week 17, by a score of 44-6. And this time around, all eyes will be on that man. Dak Prescott returning from injury. Pressure is on Dak to take Dallas to the promised land with his big new deal. And Dak and the Cowboys are hoping that they don't fall victim to the Hard Knocks headaches. Since 2016, 6 teams have been featured on the show and only one. The Rams last season had a winning record and made it to the playoffs. That's called a jinx, folks. Let's bring in these guys. Jeff, Rob, Woody. All right, so Jeff, I'll start with you. Should we be worried about the Cowboys and this recent Hard Knocks trend?
You coming to me on this or Nick?
I'm talking to you, Mr. Jeff Darlington.
I do not think they need to worry about this. Like, I'm not a big jinx guy altogether, but I do ultimately believe actually in the Cowboys probably more than some. I think that Dak Prescott takes this team to a different level. I never expect a team with an injured franchise quarterback to be able to perform that well. Yes, the Cowboys were absolutely anemic on both sides of the ball last year. I think Dak Prescott is the answer in all of that. So to me, no curse worry here when it comes to Hard Knocks.
Dak Prescott is the answer. So, D. Wood, you were on Hard Knocks with the Jets in 2010. Explain what the experience is like as a player and what impact it has on your season.
Well, listen, we had a great time with it, and when we were, when Rex Ryan and company approached, told the team about it, he just said, "Look, let's just go out here and have fun, embrace it, and we're gonna roll with it." And guess what? The NFL Films crew did a phenomenal job of just kind of blending in with the rest of the operation, and it was an opportunity to elevate people's profiles, and obviously Rex was the star of Hard Knocks in that situation. And listen, I didn't think it made a difference to us one way or the other, but we ended up going to the AFC Championship game after that Hard Knocks series. So I don't think it's going to have any type of effect on the Dallas Cowboys in a negative manner. It's just all about how you embrace it. We embraced it with the Jets, and it did wonders for our profile.
All right, and it's interesting that you mentioned that because I think we as fans look at it and say, gosh, that looks like such a distraction. But when they're blending in like that, you can see that maybe it's not as much of a distraction. So, Rob, I got to ask you, as we look at Dak Prescott, is he made for this moment? How should Dak feel about the cameras being on him?
I don't think, look, the cameras have been on him, so I'm not worried about Dak. I think when you are a quarterback, especially when you're a quarterback, you are always under the microscope. You are always going to have the cameras on you. I think with the pressures of playing in Dallas to begin with, he's been there. They have an owner who is more vocal and outspoken than 90% of the other owners. So I really don't think that being in the limelight and having the cameras around, being on Hard Knocks, will have any effect on anybody. And I think Dak, after being paid, is probably feeling pretty comfortable right now, coming off his injury. I know he's going to try and bounce back from that, but I just think that in this position that he's at right now, in Dallas, I don't think there's any more pressure on him than he doesn't already have on him to begin with.
So then, Rob, who do you think has the most to gain from Hard Knocks?
Let's see. Probably the head coach. I think that when you look at last year, being a new head coach in a new city with the way COVID was and the way the season worked out, I think that McCarthy probably has a lot to gain off of people watching him and just seeing his daily routine and ins and outs of how he runs the team. I think that it might impact the fan base a pretty big amount.
He would? Who do you think has the most to gain?
No, I gotta agree with Rob. I think Mike McCarthy is the guy with the most to gain, coming off of last season where you saw your star quarterback go down and literally the team just was just in shambles. So I think people had questions about Mike McCarthy as far as his offense and his ability to run a 21st century style of offense. So I think this will be a great opportunity for Mike McCarthy to kind of rehab himself over last year's season.
Jeff, what do you think?
I just don't know what we expect from Mike McCarthy's personality. Like, I like him a lot. He's a funny guy, but he's got like this dry sense of humor that I'm not sure is going to translate to the Hard Knocks crowd. I'm very curious to see how it goes. I used to cover the Dolphins back when Joe Philbin was on there. I don't know if you guys remember that, like how awkward it got when he waved Ocho Cinco and he's walking around like picking up trash from the field. Like, I actually think it can do more harm than good for a head coach, because head coaches are, generally speaking, a little different. So like, I hope for Mike McCarthy's sake that he comes out of this looking pretty good. But to me, he's got more to lose than to gain, to be honest.
Yeah, you definitely want the Rex Ryan effect and not the Joe Philbin effect. That's the key
Joe Philbin,
when you talk about Hard Knocks. Because, man, that was brutal. Yeah. All right, guys, let's go on the clock with the Dallas Cowboys. 30 seconds on the clock. Let's put it up right now, producers. Okay, here we go. Rob Ninkovich, will Dak Prescott be in the MVP conversation this season?
Yes, I say yes because he is a paid man. That weight vest is off of him, so now he is just going to go out there and perform. He's got a team that they reloaded defensively, which we knew that they had to do. Offensively, they have plenty of weapons. I think CD is going to be the top receiver on that team. So he has the weapons offensively. They need to protect him, get back into the swing of things after an injury going on IR. I think he's going to have an MVP season. And look, I think that the Cowboys win the division, and they win it pretty easily. I think they're the best team in the division.
You stole Jeff's thunder there. Jeff, will the Cowboys win the NFC East?
Say, Nick, it's all mapped out. Like, everybody, we know we're supposed to make it look like a surprise, but we know what we're saying. You stole my answer. Yes, they're going to win the division. I really do think this. Look, Washington, by the way, is a great contender in the division. I think that they have a real shot here. Not Nostradamus, but I think the Cowboys stand to exceed expectations to a degree that they've never been able to do before, in the sense that expectations are finally low in Dallas. And coming into this season, like you said, an improved defense, a quarterback who's comfortable. I think that this is actually going to be a really good year for the Cowboys.
Okay, I would have said Washington football team, but that's just me. Damian, will the Cowboys win another Super Bowl under Jerry Jones?
I'm going no, and that's just because, man, the Cowboys burned me like a couple years ago when they were my team to win the Super Bowl. But listen, nobody knows this, and we know Jerry Jones is on the clock as far as his time left. As far as the Dallas Cowboys. But listen, you locked up Dak Prescott. To me, that's the most important piece of the puzzle. You got the quarterback locked up. It's all about, are you able to keep replenishing the roster? Some of these guys are older. Can you keep replenishing the roster around your quarterback? You'll have a chance every year.
And can everybody stay healthy? Bottom line. All right, guys. Well, coming up, everyone wants to compare Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady. And I mean everyone, but what does Kansas City's quarterback think about chasing the GOAT? Find out what he said and if our experts agree next on Get Up.